guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here for another one of our kind of using up old things that we kind of either wish we hadn't bought or, you know, can't find a use for, particularly now. So I'm just going to continue on with these Kanban papers and, you know, paper pack that I've got here. Obviously we have made some other little bits with these already. Let me just drag them out. Hold on a moment. So we already made these little bits with our ribbon and postage stamps and things, and then we made these envelopes, which I just love how they turned out. They look so pretty. I really do like them. So I'm just going to pop them over to one side and we'll just continue on and see what else we can come up with. So what I thought we could do is mix in some of these papers. Obviously I've still got the rest of this leopard ribbon, which I'm also trying to work my way through, and we've obviously used on those bits, you know, again using the reverse of it, so we've got the brown. And then what I thought we could do is mix up other images with some of these papers and what have you. So I've got here some images from my Berkeley Square kit, some of the you know, the building images. I mean, as you know, if you watch me regularly, I do love my kind of architecture kind of pictures and things and images. So I've just grabbed in one of the like postcard elements basically from that kit, which I just thought looks so pretty on that turquoise or teal type colour. Let me just pop some I was going to say let me just pop some plain paper down to work from, but I don't now seem to have any. Hold on a moment. No, I don't think I have got any, would you believe? Right, let me just get some plain, well, it's not plain, but some book page that I can just kind of lean on here. So what I'm going to do, obviously I've cut this down to a smallish piece, and I'm just going to now cut this picture down so that it's smaller, so, you know, just so it fits on here basically. And then what I'll do is I think pop that onto some book page to layer it up. So let me just lean to my side bit with the book page and layer it up there again. So oops, I just okay. I'm just going to glue this down onto the book page. I mean, I say things like this all the time in my videos, but I have visions of me, visions of me having no pieces left, you know, having used all my stash. I mean, the amount of times that I've said this in videos, and has my stash decreased? Well, not so you'd notice, no. But every time that I do any of these types of videos where we're like working through stash, using things up, I feel like suddenly I'm going to have this huge, great big space, you know, like empty, being like, oh, it's all gone now, look. No, that's not happened and probably never will happen if I'm realistic. But, you know, in my head, that's how I envisage it being. So we'll see. We'll see. Right. So it's obviously now, you know, smaller to pop on there, smaller and layered, sorry. So I'll just trim that down slightly more so as we can see a little bit more of the teal colour, because it is pretty, isn't it? Okay. And then I'm just going to glue that down onto there. Come on. Like that. Okay. So we just glue that down like that. And the reason that I've left a slightly bigger gap this edge is because I thought what we could do is obviously ruffle up some of this lovely ribbon on the edge. So I'm just going to rough up around here. I mean, I just like to do this because I think it, I don't know, it adds a little bit more texture, which I like. And it also adds a little bit more for the ink to cling onto, because if it's very flat, you know, the ink doesn't necessarily kind of cling onto it or show up so much. Where if you rough up those edges, can you see there? I like that because it has then sort of a bit more to cling onto. So just go round all of those bits like that. I mean, you know, personally, I just think that looks lovely, just exactly as that is, because I love the image of the, you know, that really attractive building. I don't know whether it's a stately home or what, but I just think it looks beautiful. So I'm just going to trim the ribbon down. And again, if you watch the last one of these, all I'm doing is kind of turning this over so it no longer looks leopard. I mean, actually, I have to say it looks quite nice in leopard, I think, because it's got that weird, like a fusion going on between the very modern leopard and the old vintage picture. But, you know, I realised that wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea. So I'll turn it over and we'll go with the brown. So all I'm going to do is, and again, obviously, if you've got your sewing machine handy, you can, you know, you can sew your ruffles, but I will just staple it on. I think the staples look just as good. I don't think it needs to be sewn. You know, I think sewing looks nice, but I mean, if your sewing machine's not handy, I don't think it's an essential thing. So just like that. And I don't want any sort of uniformity to this. So I'm just, you know, ruffling it up, ruffling it up like that, and a bit more here. Okay. Oops. Okay, and then just going to, oops, trim off the edge like that. And then again, I've got this gorgeous ivory ruffly ribbon, which I've used quite a bit recently. You know, that again, I've just had in my stash for ages and I really love it. So I'm just going to staple that, like she says, over the top of the brown. I'm not ruffling this, but I'm not making sure it's dead straight either. I'm just attaching it basically, you know, in any way that it happens to fall. It's a little bit fiddly, but that might be just me. You maybe wouldn't find it so fiddly. And another one there. Yeah, so then I'm just going to trim that off here. I mean, to me, that just adds another little dimension to that. I'm just checking that I'm filming and in frame. So it just adds another little dimension to that, I think. And then I've got some bits and bobs here. Well, she says. Now, where have I put those bits and bobs? Oh no, what have I done with those? Oh, they're down here on the floor beside me. So all I'm going to do, these are just some little bits and pieces that I've pulled out for a different video. And I thought we could use, you know, whilst we're doing this. So I've got that one, and I've got this butterfly, which again, that butterfly obviously just is fantastic match, because it just picks up that brown of the leopard ribbon, or, you know, what's effectively now a brown ribbon. It's not a leopard ribbon anymore, is it? So I'm just going to ink that around the edges like that, and then we'll just glue that on like that. And I'm just going to have that, you know, across the picture like that. And then this I'm just going to pop to the side you know, doesn't need layering on any fabric or anything. It just looks pretty as it is, I think. And that's it. So again, we've used another piece of that card that otherwise was just in my stash, not really doing a lot. And, you know, we've used more of that ribbon, so we're gradually getting through it. And that'll be another spool of ribbon gone from my stash. So, you know, really pretty, I think. It looks, you know, I really like how that's come out. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. And we'll go delving into the packet and just pull out another, oh gosh, come on. Oh gosh, it's really tightly fitting in there. Another piece of the background page. Oops, just split that packet now, never mind. Never mind, because I'm not going to have this packet much longer. I will have worked my way through all of that paper. So this one is quite thick, and it's also got, well, the other one was quite thick too, but this one's also got a bit of a sheen going on. I don't know whether the camera can pick that up. So my first thing I'm going to do is just test how this even comes out with the Distress ink, because obviously it's going to come out different on the sheeny parts to the matte parts of the paper. I mean, I have to say, I think that looks really pretty. I don't know about you, but, you know, I think that looks lovely. I'm just going to ink it up a little bit more and kind of just, you know, get a feel for what type of thing is going to look good on there. I mean, I think that looks really nice, actually. So, again, now, I might just see how this is to fold in case I want to make a folding piece. And it's just always good to test out these little things, because this is how you can see then, you know, would this be suitable card for a folded piece? Or, you know, is it going to crack? Because some papers do crack. This looks like it's going to be pretty good. So I'm just going to trim this down here, like that. And then we'll just cut off the, what would you call that? Like the header piece. Like that. Now then, what I'm thinking, what am I thinking? Oh, I don't know now what I am thinking, actually. Let's just have a look, and I'll just see what pieces I've got here beside me that I might like to use on this. Now, obviously that looks very strange, but bearing in mind this is how it looks once it's inked. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? So I may like to use something like that. I'm just wondering whether, should I do like a folding piece? Let me pop that on there. And then if I folded that kind of here-ish. Oh, awful folding. Should have obviously used a ruler, used my bone folder, but as you know, that's not really my thing. So we'll just do it like this, and that's fine anyway. Okay. That would go on there, and then we can just fold this piece down. So want to leave a bit of a gap like that, so we just come across at the top like that. Okay, so before I do anything at all, I'm going to just trim this down because it's just got an overhang at the edge there. And then all I'm going to do is obviously ink the entire envelope or flip piece. I haven't decided whether it will be an envelope or a flip yet. I'm going to ink the whole lot so it's all got that really nice colour and pattern going on. I thought that looked really good. So, come on. Okay. There we go, over all of it. Try and cover up pretty much most of that blue. A bit more this side, and I'm just going to open it out, and then we'll do the inside as well. So Then I'll just do the inside for if we have it as a fold out rather than an envelope. You know, because as I say, I haven't quite decided yet. So like that. Okay. Just think that crease bit as well. So then we're going to obviously pop, you know, maybe this on here. I mean, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Let me just see how that's going to look with the brown ribbon. Because ideally, I do want to, you know, use a bit more of the brown on here because that's going to feel good, you know, to get rid of some more of that. Now, I'm just wondering whether we could do that bow trick that we've done a few times. We could have that maybe down there on the edge. Or are we thinking that the brown doesn't really go with this piece? Let's just ink it up a little bit more. Like that. And I'm just going to ink this piece up as well. If we had that one on there and that there, bring the brown ribbon back again. Thinking, let's cut this down a little bit because it's quite a big flap at the moment. So we'll just trim that down. Oops, I don't think I've made that very straight. Okay. I'm wondering, you know, if we have it across there, not there. Oh, decisions, it's so tough, isn't it? Or, and admittedly, this would not use up very much of this. Right, let's glue this one on. We want that on some book page first, actually. Pop it on some book page. As you can see, I've obviously printed other things on the back of here, so I always like to reuse my card. The bits that I have printed, as you can probably see, the ink was running out, so I don't want to throw that away, obviously, so it's good to then reuse it. There we go. I'll just pop that down there, and then I'm just going to cut around that a bit. Like that. So I hope you're all having a good day. Hope everyone's managing to do a bit of crafting. Are you joining in with me? Are you kind of doing a bit of stash busting yourself and, you know, trying to use up some of your old pieces and papers and ribbons and what have you? I don't know whether this is spurring anybody on, but I mean, definitely it was high time for me. So, yeah, if nothing else, it was definitely long overdue for me to do a little bit of using up of stuff. I mean, as I say, I just, I'm forever thinking, oh, I'm going to have a clear space, and no, it's not clear. There we go. I mean, not helped by the fact that as soon as I am down to like my last of something, I just then, you know, I stop using it. Because I think, oh no, I don't want to run out. You know, I don't want to not have that anymore. So it's kind of a bit ridiculous. Right, I'm going to cut this down. So I have that like a little thingamajiggy. Tab is the word that I was struggling to find. And then I might have a ruffle there, I think. So this flap could actually come a bit smaller. Like that. Yeah, that's better. So all I'm going to do is glue on my tab there. Come on. it. So one bit, and then we just want the other bit here. So just glue that one on as well. Oops. Like that. Okay. And then, oops, let's just make sure that's straight, because otherwise I've got kind of leopard poking out that you can see, and that does not look very vintage, does it? The vintage leopard skin. Although, I mean, I say that, I'm sure that I've said before, in my Gorgeous Girls kit, the vintage images, and these are proper vintage images that I used, one of the dresses, yeah, I can't remember if it was a dress or a coat, it was leopard print, and it was, you know, an image from, well, I don't know what time, but I don't know, late 1890, something like that. I don't know when, but yeah, she had kind of leopard print dress or coat or something, so it obviously was a thing even back then. Well, I mean, of course, obviously, you know, I mean, really, it's not leopard, is it? It's cheetah. And of course, cheetahs have always, or not necessarily always, been around. You really have to pick your words carefully when you're doing videos, because you say things and then people kind of might comment and say things like, you know, but they haven't always been around. So I'm not claiming that they've always been around. I just mean, you know, they've been around a long time. But I don't know whether they necessarily would have used their print for clothes. I don't know. But they obviously did back then, because somebody was, you know, in that picture wearing something. And I doubt they had faux fur back then. I mean, faux fur is just amazing, isn't it? It's just looks so real now. You know, sometimes you really can't tell whether something is faux or whether it's real. It just looks so good, so authentic, which is great, obviously. Oh, come on. Really fiddly for some reason. Don't ask me why this is really a struggle for me today. Just get those days where sometimes it's not very easy, don't you? There we go. And my son must have that gene as well, because at the weekend he was making something, and I don't remember whether he was pouring milk into the saucepan. I think he was trying to make some cheese sauce, and he was pouring the milk in, and I just thought, oh my gosh, look at how he's pouring that. I didn't say anything, because then I stopped myself and I thought, oh my gosh, who does he remind me of? He's me. Oh no, he's got my gene. Oh, but it looked awful even to my eyes. I thought, oh my gosh, look at what he's doing. Yep, so he's got that gene as well, poor thing. Right, got those. Now I've got that brown butterfly, as you can see there. I'm just wondering whether I want that, or whether we could have a little word there. I've got these words here that I've just glued down onto greaseproof paper. Got this word, fabulous. Could have that there. It's quite nice, isn't it? Do you think we need the butterfly as well? Let me just ink the butterfly up, and we'll just have a look. Let me just pull in that cream curly ribbon. No, definitely no. Now I think the only thing that's kind of slightly wrong on this is the staples are now actually catching on the kind of envelope piece beneath. So let me just glue this down. Like that. So we'll just glue that on like that. Right, see there, the staples are now catching on that underneath piece. So we could use obviously some more ribbon to edge along that strip, because that will prevent that happening, and obviously it will use up a little bit more ribbon. Or you could just use some paper, completely and utterly, you know, up to you. If you're doing something like this, you might be thinking, why is she saying it's up to me? I just mean if you're doing this type of project. So I'm just going to use that ribbon. So I'm just going to cover this in some Fabri-Tac. And also, I mean, it does make your, you know, the inside of your envelope look more attractive, doesn't it? So it's a double benefit there. So just pop that there like that. Pop that down there. Okay, now I'm just going to trim that off at the edge like that. Okay, because now that doesn't catch, so it's much better. But obviously that flap's not really closing either. So again, it's up to you now whether you would want to, you know, possibly use like a paper clip. Oops. And that then holds that closed. Or whether you wanted to put some string or something like that round. I mean, the paper clip actually works pretty nicely. So I think, you know, for me, I'll probably just do that. Yeah. Just kind of double checking. Yeah. Or, let me just see what it's like at the side. Yeah. So I'm just going to use the paper clip, to be honest, because, you know, that's a good way to keep that closed. So let me just check the time now. Oh my gosh, the time just flies, doesn't it? Right, we're up to 27 minutes, so that's probably enough. I'm trying to kind of do a few slightly shorter videos, she says. No doubt I'll be back to my lengthy ones before we know it. But so that's another couple of pieces, just using up some old papers and obviously some of our old ribbon. So I hope you like them. I mean, I think they look really, really pretty. And, you know, again, it's just a little bit more gone from my stash. So I hope you'll join me again next time, where hopefully we'll use up a few more things. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks then. Bye.